I'm in Sedona, Arizona, and today I'm gonna ride Highline Trail like a girl. This trail is about 3.5 miles long, and it begins with a climb. This trail is somewhere between a black diamond and a double black, and there are a couple of really difficult sections which I'll be walking, but they are walkable as long as you're like a well-fit and agile person. So I'll be walking a couple of those, but it should be good. I've got a new gimbal I'm trying out, see how it's gonna work. We'll see how this footage turns out. It seems like the gimbal's a little sluggish.
This video was supposed to focus on the Highline Trail, but as you're about to see, the gimbal I'm testing out and my squeaky brakes are gonna try really hard to steal the show. I thought about just scrapping this whole video, but then I thought, you know what? This is just a little slice of life. Sometimes this is how stuff goes. And I also thought a few of you might be interested to just hear how my experience was with this gimbal.
Nice.
So the gimbal I'm using is made by Yi. Yi is a Chinese company that makes like a GoPro-esque action cam that's relatively inexpensive, and they've also started making these gimbals as well. Now, I love filming with my Sony X3000 action cam, but I haven't found a great wearable gimbal solution that's compatible with this camera. So I ended up buying the Yi 4K action cam, and I got it bundled with the gimbal, hoping to give the pair a try. I paid about $350 for the pair on Amazon. So I took this camera and gimbal setup on about 4 different rides and experimented with some different orientations and modes. I pretty quickly learned that I liked the low camera angle I could get by mounting the gimbal upside down. But something about my body position, particularly when I was descending on turns, made the gimbal kind of catch on itself, and then I could hear the motor buzzing and it was fighting itself, and so I knew that wasn't going to work.
Whew, sorry.
That's about as much exposure as we get on this.
Alright, perfect.
With the gimbal mounted upright, there was no more catching, but I started to notice another big problem. The pan on this gimbal is just too slow for first-person mountain biking footage. I'm climbing, so I'm not even going that fast, and it still can't keep up with my turns. In fact, when I watched this footage back, I found myself subconsciously trying to look ahead of the turn as I sat in front of my computer, like I could somehow get the gimbal to look ahead by turning my head.
It's spazzing out.
It's sluggish.
Another problem was that if the trail took a couple of just little back-to-back turns that were coming at it quicker than the gimbal could keep up with, it would eventually just go limp, like it was giving up altogether. That's how I wound up with great shots like this. This isn't really that kind of channel, so that's not going to work.
Is there a firmware update you can do on those?
There's no new firmware updates, I checked.
I was hoping that maybe there would be a setting I could use to change the pan speed on this gimbal, but I read through all the instructions and it didn't seem like there was any such setting. If you have any experience with this particular gimbal, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But enough gimbal talk for now. Let's get back to the ride.
So loose. Oh man. It's so hard to keep traction when I'm cranking through the techie stuff. There's a lot of loose dirt around all the rocks.
Let's see if we can cover up some of that brake noise. Cue the music.
Wow, this is so beautiful. So pretty. Made it to the top. I gotta force myself to get forward on those turns. I don't want to, it's scary, but I can turn so much better when I lean forward. This is fun. Steve says it's gonna get heinous in a little bit though. And he said, oh no, because I'll be like, this is heinous. I'll walk it. Well, actually, I was gonna ride it. Then I was like, you know what? I'll let Steve have his moment in the limelight.
You don't want to make me feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
Not today, but I gave it a try. Whew, that is loose. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I rode that. Woo!
My husband Steve is a great rider. He rode this whole trail except for one chute.
Oh yeah. That was not the line.
I keep on thinking that one day I'll be able to keep up with Steve, but just as I'm getting better, he gets a little bit better too, so I think I'll just always be chasing him. Works for me though. He's still my favorite person to ride with.
Yeah.
This trail is a true double black diamond. Some of these sections are so gnarly, and it's not like there's just one or two of them. There's probably 4 or 5 or 6 of them at least so far, and there's some that I could see myself riding someday, and there's other ones that I'm like, I don't know if I ever want to ride that. But it's cool. It's helpful to see it in person. But I would say if you're gonna do this, you should still kind of be a little bit of an experienced rider. Like, this stuff is so steep, it's actually challenging even to walk your bike, so you want to be pretty confident handling your bike both when you're on and off it, for sure. I can't rightly say that I rode the Highline Trail because all the gnarliest sections I've totally walked, but it's still good to see it. Steve said the gnarliest stuff is over. Let the good times roll.
Okay, so final thoughts on the Yi gimbal. I gotta give Yi a little bit of credit. For handheld shots on the selfie stick, which is what most people will be using this for, it actually does a really great job. And to get it bundled with a 4K Yi action camera for $350 is actually a pretty good deal. But for first-person mountain biking footage, I feel like the pan on the Yi gimbal is just too slow. In the end, I decided to return mine, and I'll probably end up buying an Evo. So I didn't talk about the 4K action camera too much, but I will just tell you that it comes with a touchscreen display on the back. I felt like the menus were really easy to navigate, and I felt like the footage was pretty comparable to a GoPro Hero 4. The onboard audio on the Yi isn't amazing, but it spanks the GoPro Hero 5. In hindsight, I wish that before I had returned the gimbal, I had filmed a couple of shots of me handling the gimbal and showing you how it works. But really, when I filmed this video, I just thought it was going to be a Highline video. So keep in mind that this is kind of a last-minute, impromptu, first impressions review of this product. And for those of you who have been cringing through the whole video about my squeaky brakes, I did film one more video after this with them squeaking, but I have since resolved the issue. I cleaned them up and realigned them, and now they are gloriously silent.
Beautiful ride and a beautiful night. That is how you ride and hike Highline Trail.